Well, hello everyone. This is Darth Judicar 22 once again coming at you with a special Versus series. I've been trying to do more Versus series that either no one's done before or no one's really thought of doing, or even using characters that are not commonly used, such as when I use Lord Scourge or Darth Kaitis, both of which are very either underused or not even used at all in Versus series. This time around, I picked two combatants that are really underused, and I think I've picked an interesting matchup, so without really much else to say, let us begin. Welcome to Leia Organa Solo versus Marasiah Fel. Leia Organa Solo was born on the Pallas Massa asteroid colony 19 years before the Battle of Yavin, along with her brother Luke. Her mother died not long after her birth, and she was adopted by Senator Bail Organa of Alderaan and taken to his homeworld to be raised. In 2 BBY, at the age of 17, Leia was sent to Kashyyyk by the Empire in order to keep her father in line in the Imperial Senate. However, she was rescued by Galen Merrick, Darth Vader's secret apprentice, and went on to help found the Rebel Alliance. In 0 BBY, she was tasked with getting the stolen Death Star plans to the Rebel Alliance on Alderaan. However, her ship was boarded by the Empire. While she was captured, she managed to get the plans off of the ship before that happened and down to the planet Tatooine. She was taken to the first Death Star, where she was subjected to interrogation by Darth Vader himself. However, she refused to give up any information to Darth Vader, and as a last-ditch effort, the Empire destroyed her homeworld of Alderaan in order to force her to talk. She was to be executed by the Empire, but she was rescued by Luke Skywalker and Han Solo, who had come to the Death Star after arriving in the Alderaan system with Ben Kenobi. After that, they traveled to Yavin 4, where they took part in the Battle of Yavin that led to the destruction of the first Death Star. She later took part in the Battle of Hoth and helped with the evacuation of rebel forces, as well as helping free Han Solo from imprisonment on Tatooine under Jabba the Hutt. During the Battle of Endor in 4 BBY, Leia was part of the strike team sent to the Forest Moon in order to take out the Imperial base and shield generator protecting the second Death Star in orbit. During the Battle of Endor, she also discovered that her father was Darth Vader and her brother was none other than Luke Skywalker. Following the Battle of Endor and the death of Darth Sidious, Leia and the Rebel Alliance went on to capture the planet Coruscant and form the New Republic. It was also during this time that she married Han Solo and eventually became pregnant with the twins Jason and Jaina. At the height of the Thrawn crisis, she gave birth to the twins, as well as beginning to undergo Jedi training by her brother Luke. She and Han also helped Luke rebuild the Jedi Order on Yavin 4 with a Jedi Praxium by searching for Force-sensitive children. At one point, after Mon Mothma was poisoned by the Cardian ambassador, Leia was made the Chief of State of the New Republic. During the Yuuzhan Vong War, she opted to leave New Republic politics after a growing anti-Jedi sentiment emerged in the Senate. It was also during this time that she lost her youngest son Anakin to the Yuuzhan Vong during the Battle of Murker. By the end of the Swarm War against the Killiks, Leia had finished her Jedi training and was made a fully fledged Jedi Knight. During the Second Galactic Civil War, Han and Leia, in secret at first, supported the Corellian independence movement, but eventually arranged for the death of Thraken Sal Solo, the leader of the Corellian government at the time. By the end of the war, her son Jason had fallen to the dark side and risen as Darth Caedus. However, he was defeated by his sister Jaina at the end of the war. After the war, Han and Leia took on their granddaughter Alana to keep her safe from any possible threats, as well as working to keep the Jedi Order safe from the threat of Natasi Dala and later the Lost Tribe of the Sith. Her final fate is not known, but like the rest of her family, she had died by the period of the Sith Imperial War at 130 ABY. Over the course of her life, Leia was many things: a politician, a rebel, and above all, a Jedi Knight. But she was not the last princess to fight against a Sith-controlled empire. Marasiah Fel was an Imperial princess born on an unknown world in the resurgent Galactic Empire, possibly the Imperial homeworld Bastion. While growing up and after the end of the Sith Imperial War, L.K. Vetter trained Marasiah in the tactics of the Imperial Knights, the Empire's school of Force users. She spent some time on the Imperial mission on the planet Socorro. However, she was tracked down by Darth Talon, the hand of Darth Krayt. She managed to escape to Vendaxa with Cade Skywalker and the crew of the Minok. However, she was pursued by the Sith assassins who attacked them there. Once she arrived on Vendaxa, however, she was confronted by Darth Talon, who had recently killed L.K. Vetter. But her attempt at revenge against the Imperial hand was short-lived, as she was quickly pushed out of the way. Sometime after the Battle of Vendaxa, she was knighted and formally inducted into the Imperial Knights in the service of her father, Roan Fel. She also was the one who exposed to the Jedi Council that it was the Sith who had sabotaged the Oshius project, which had begun the Sith Imperial War. She was later captured by the Sith Inquisitor Darth Havoc and brought to Korriban for interrogation. But she was able to resist his torture, even though he also attempted to convince her that her lover, Antares Draco, had been lying to her and was secretly in league with the Sith. She managed to escape with the help of Antares Draco and several other members of the Imperial Knights, but she did not entirely trust Draco after what she learned from Havoc. During the battle for Coruscant, her father, Roan Fel, began to fall towards the dark side, and they were forced to kill him, which made Marasiah the new Empress of the Galactic Empire. She went on to become one of the three leaders of the new Triumvirate, along with Gar Stasi and Kakruk. In the end, Marasiah Fel was an accomplished woman who managed to survive many fights with the Sith and was the first Empress of the Galactic Empire. At the end of the Swarm War, Leia Organa Solo was a human female around the age of 54 who still was very much in the prime of her life despite her advanced age. This was more than likely a result of the Jedi training she was undergoing at the time, and given that she is quite skilled in terms of physical ability, and especially when you consider her previous experience in the rebellion. So yeah, despite her advanced age, Leia was skilled in terms of physical ability, but other than that, there's not really much else to say. Marasiah Fel was a human female around the age of 18 at the time of her ascension to the throne of the Galactic Empire. While in terms of physical strength, she didn't have much to bring to the table, she was more than capable of fighting off opponents and was capable of power strikes and other powerful attacks. But where she lacks in physical strength, she makes up in endurance. She was able to survive an interrogation by Darth Havoc, a trained Sith Inquisitor who even used Force Lightning to great effect, an accomplishment very few could have made it out of alive. And more than that, she was able to survive this without giving away any information that Havoc tried to get out of her. All in all, Marasiah was at the prime of her physical capability, which gave her a strong edge in terms of physical ability. This is actually not that hard of a call to make. While they are both extremely accomplished fighters and are capable of feats of strength, the truth is that Marasiah does have an advantage over Leia. Leia was kind of a late bloomer in terms of being a Jedi or any other member of a Force school. As such, her training did not, while being beneficial, did not afford her some of the advantages that someone like Marasiah, who is trained from childhood, may have. As such, I give Marasiah Fel the advantage in terms of physical abilities. In terms of her skills with the lightsaber, Leia Organa Solo had a fairly straightforward lightsaber combat form. Much like her father and brother, her preferred form of lightsaber combat was Form 5 Shin/Djimso, a combination of offensive and defensive moves. Users of Form 5 were marked as being able to defend against attacks and then quickly counterattack. They also were skilled at blast deflection and redirection, which made them even more dangerous in combat. Also, as a holdover from her training in the Rebellion, she was capable of using a blaster. However, I will not be considering this in this match. With Marasiah, we've encountered a problem that I've only run into once before with a Versus series. In none of the materials she's appeared in, her lightsaber form has not been confirmed, so I'm going to have to make a guess based off of the comics themselves. Because she was able to utilize acrobatics as well as all parts of her body in combat during her battle on Vindaxa with the Sith, I believe that one of her lightsaber forms is Ataru. The fourth form of lightsaber combat, Ataru, was marked by strong use of acrobatics as well as flips and kicks utilizing all parts of the body of the user. But on the other hand, if it is not used properly, it is exhausting to the user, and that can be dangerous. Once again from the Battle of Vindaxa, she is shown using what appears to be a two-handed grip, utilizing a power strike. As such, I believe she was more of a hybrid user of Ataru and Djimso, choosing to counter attacks and then strike hard with either form. All in all, Marasiah was an accomplished lightsaber duelist and had at least two forms under her belt, which made her a dangerous opponent. Now, this is kind of a tricky call to make. This really comes down to whether or not Marasiah gains an advantage because of her Ataru, And because prolonged use of it would tire her out, I don't think that it would be that much of a factor unless she was able to break through an opponent quickly. As such, in terms of lightsaber dueling, because they both focus more on Jujimso, I believe that there is only one real call that can be made. I declare them equals in terms of lightsaber dueling and martial ability. While her training came later in life, Leia did have some unrefined Force abilities. After realizing she was Force sensitive at the age of 23, she was able to telepathically sense her brother Luke, as well as being skilled in battle meditation while it was still unrefined, and was even able to defend her infant son against the spirit of the dying Palpatine. She was also skilled with telekinetic attacks, being able to use things like force push, force pull, and saber throw to great effect. She could also use it much more unconventionally, being able to hold it together the Millennium Falcon as it was descending through the atmosphere of Coruscant for a time. Her skill in telepathy was also considerable, as she was able to force an opponent to relinquish her weapon at one point. All in all, while Leia was a latecomer in terms of using the Force, she was still an accomplished Force user in her own right. As the daughter of Ron Fel and a member of the Skywalker lineage, Marasiah Fel had a potential in the Force that was probably considerable. That being said, however, she was less skilled in the Force than some other members of her family, focusing more on the basic Force abilities, probably because she was not completely trained in the more advanced uses. That being said, she was capable of using telekinetic attacks to great effect to push back opponents, as well as being able to use telepathic attacks such as the mind trick, which she attempted to use against Kate Skywalker. However, it is not exactly known how good she was at using it. In terms of Force abilities, this is kind of an unusual category. On one hand, Leia was a late bloomer to being a Jedi, but she is capable of using the Force both conventionally and unconventionally to great effect. And on the other hand, we have Marasiah, who is capable of using basically the most basic of Force abilities, even to great effect despite having been trained since childhood. In the end, it comes down to who is more proficient in their Force abilities. And for that, I'm going to have to give this one to Leia, because she is able to use it much more powerfully and even more unconventionally than Marasiah could, and she is more skilled in the Jedi mind trick than she is. Leia Organa Solo gains the advantage in terms of Force ability. Leia Organa Solo had a standard lightsaber with a blue Adagan crystal. And well, that seems to be a recurring problem with these Versus series. Other than that, there's really not much else to say. While she is skilled with a lightsaber and it probably is customized for her personal style, I don't really know what else to say about it, and that's pretty much it. Despite her high status in the Empire, Marasiah Fel still used the standard lightsaber design of the Imperial Knights. While it was standard for her order, it was still a remarkable weapon that was a single blade, but it also had the rarely used silver or white crystal. But there was more to Marasiah's armaments than just simply her lightsaber. As a member of the Imperial Knights, she was outfitted with the standard armor as well. This armor was designed to take hits from lightsabers and to be able to basically keep the user protected from just about anything. Also, as suggested by Roan Fel, she most likely had Cortosis gauntlets, which had become a standard for Imperial Knights by this point. This also brings some interesting attributes to the table, as Cortosis can short out an enemy's lightsaber, and if used properly would give her an advantage. All in all, while her lightsaber was standard, her armor gives her enough of an advantage that she may be able to hold her own in any fight. Now, if this was based off of their lightsabers alone, this would be a tie. However, there is an additional factor. Marasiah's use of lightsaber-resistant armor and the possibility of Cortosis gauntlets gives her an advantage that cannot be overlooked. As such, I give Marasiah Fel the advantage in terms of equipment. So before I get into this, I do want to establish that this will be more of a sparring match than a straight out lightsaber duel. Both women, while capable of killing, would not do so unless driven to the point where they have no other choice, and also if they are under extreme duress, and neither of which I believe would be present in this fight. So let us set the stage for this duel between princesses. The match will take place in the Pelion Gardens on the Imperial Throne World of Bastion. As the fight begins, the two women draw their lightsabers and square off against each other. They ignite their lightsabers, and Marasiah makes a sweeping strike at Leia, and the battle begins. Leia swings her lightsaber, catching Marasiah's blow before it could land a strike. However, Marasiah is much faster and is able to avoid Leia's counterattack. Quickly switching tactics, Marasiah goes for a flying kick at Leia, the impact pushing Leia back but not defeating her just yet as she recovers and strikes out against Marasiah again. Marasiah counters, but her fast-paced style of Ataru is starting to wear her out as she's doing so. But at the same time, Leia's age and inexperience is starting to show. She blocks another blow, but is quickly followed up by a force push from her opposition, which she has a harder time defending against. Their lightsabers clash again, but this time Marasiah breaks through Leia's defense. They send a force push at each other at the same moment, each one contacting the other and pushing the other back against the ground. An exhausted Marasiah climbs to her feet, holding her lightsaber in preparation for another attack. But by this point, Leia's energy is spent, and she is in no position to fight anymore. She tosses her lightsaber off to the side and concedes the fight to Marasiah. In the end, I declare Marasiah Fel, first Empress of the Fel dynasty, the winner. As usual, this is just my opinion, and if you think Leia would win, that is, of course, your opinion. Feel free to leave a comment, make suggestions for future videos, that kind of thing. I'll be coming out with my next video at some point in the future. I hope you look forward to it. I hope you enjoyed this video. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.